And then just keep note of who's on there. I'm going to move faces over so I can see everything. I will also look in the chat, but I would love to open it up for any kind of basic questions and answers. I do know you have that little bubble that we've been asking to work through. That was last week's homework. I know some things because it's part of the KV Core action checklist, not necessarily MAXTech. I have been finding when it comes to like your bio, that check mark is not being done because of course our bios are actually through Max Center. So if you do see that, no, it's not you. It's just because our profiles, when you come into here, it's basically guiding you through editing your profile here, but all of this actually pulls over from Max Center. So I know that's one of the check marks. There are going to be a little differences between just the basic KV Core onboarding and because we have MAXTech and it doesn't reflect that. So that was one question. Did anybody else have any basics of what we're not covering today from the homework or anything like that that you wanted to cover before I go into what in the world are these smart numbers and what is going on with those? Anything? Feel free, unmute yourself, or we will go into smart numbers. Nothing. Okay. So probably one of the most confusing things is going to be smart numbers. And what that is, hopefully everybody's downloaded that mobile app. There are a lot of things that you will be able to do straight from your system, whether you're on your app or your desktop. The smart numbers, when it's going to be corresponding, when you do things through that app, it logs everything into that contact and their journey in that middle section, which we'll cover in just a few minutes. It logs everything. So now we have app files. When you go to email a document to be signed, we notice like there's a name, and the app files and somewhere digits. What that's doing is so that it has like a tracking code. So that way, when you go to see where they're at on signing those documents or, contract, it has that link tracking. And that's what the smart numbers are. They're smart and they're phone numbers. So there's a lot of things that we're going to be able to do to find your smart number because each office will have a different one. It is on an office level. You can buy one that's strictly for you. I don't, unless you're doing a lot of lead generation using the smart numbers, there's really not a need to go and, I think it's like $27 a month. I don't think there's ever a need to do that. I've never had an agent have to do that. But to find your smart number, when you click on your name in the upper right, you'll see your smart number. It is for each office will have their own. These numbers will be tied to you. Make sure to add this number as a contact in your phone and put a lot of dollar signs next to it. Think of this smart number as your inside sales agent, kind of your assistant, because a lot of correspondence, the text, everything that you do within the app and the system, when you're doing it through the system and calling or making notes, that's all tied to the smart number, but it's also going to be, we can create a lot of text codes and all of that fun stuff. But I do have a video. It's only a couple minutes, 3 minutes. I do want to, I think they do a good job kind of explaining it just so we can see. So I'm going to play that really quick and hopefully we can hear it.
Let's take a look at KV Core's lead capturing smart number functionality. With your smart number, you can do a number of things, such as capturing real phone numbers of anyone who calls in. So when you advertise your number and anybody calls in, you will capture the number that they're calling from as a lead in the KV Core system. All calls and texts to the number will route directly to you. Now, if you're using your office smart number, there's a chance that if somebody calls, it'll go through a rotation. By having your own smart number, it ensures that anytime you advertise a number, that lead and that call-in gets locked to you 100%. You can create call capture codes and get real cell number leads from your listings via sign writers, postcards, newspaper ads, and other media. You can also create call capture codes for specific lead generation offers, such as text this code in order to get a list of open houses this weekend. That would be one example. You can use your number as a primary or secondary call to action on business cards, email signatures, smart campaign emails, basically anywhere you're advertising, you can use your number to generate more of those real cell number leads. And you can also set up smart number specific routing and trigger specific smart campaigns that trigger when your capture codes are interacting with. Basically, anytime somebody texts one of your codes or calls in, you can have a specific set of automations occur via KV Core's smart campaign functionality. Now let's take a quick look inside the KV Core dashboard at how the smart number functionality works. So if we click on lead engine in the left side of the dashboard and we go to call capture, we'll get to a page that looks like this for custom text codes. And you'll see that you have the ability to click the green button up top, click add new. Now we have the ability to enter an MLS ID to automatically create a code that replies back to property info. So you might use this on your sign writers, anywhere advertising a listing. You also have the option to click to a message response. So let's say we want to do new construction list. That's our custom code. And we want to reply back and say, hi, thanks for requesting the new construction list. Here's that link, right? And you put the link here. You can build this link in KV Core's squeeze page functionality. You build a short link. And then a good best practice here would be to ask a question. Just curious, are you looking to move soon or just browsing? So you can use these codes to start conversations over text if you're strategic about the messaging. So hi, thanks for requesting the list. Here's that link. So anytime somebody texts this code to your smart number, it'll reply back with this message and get the conversation started. And you can see here where you can put in your hashtag. And this is the reason you want to do this is so that you can categorize your contacts and search for them later, but also because you can trigger automations such as sending automated property alerts or triggering smart campaigns in KV Core. And then you'll attach it to your personal smart number right here. We click add. And now anytime somebody texts that code to that number, they'll get that automatic response. And that's how easy it is to use the KV Core smart number functionality. That concludes our quick overview of the lead capturing smart number functionality.
All right. Everybody understand what smart numbers are now? Probably not. Would you like to go in and play to see how those actually work when we're building those? Yes, yes. So when you come over to lead engine, I want to do call and text capture. This is where, and I just want to show an example. Where did those go? Over here. So I don't know if you've ever seen anything like this, where you have text, 1, 2, 3, 4 to this number for pictures and price. These are fantastic to actually have a custom sign writer made for your real estate signs. Then that way you can put it on your sign, your new listing, instead of having flyers constantly taken from the nosy neighbors, have something like this. The great thing about it is you're actually not going to get a Mickey Mouse phone number. You're going to get an actual number because they're texting from their mobile phone. So they're texting by me to, 772, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Once they do that, you have it connected to that property. They're going to get all the photos, information, as well as your information, the description, all of that. It is absolutely wonderful. It's like having a complete digital flyer, but you're actually generating leads on your listings, which you'll have a hashtag. So to do that, when we come over here to the lead engine, building your text codes, this is your smart number. This is where you would go add new and custom code. Maybe I want by me. So I want to have a custom side that says by me. I could do buy me 1, buy me 2, buy me 3, buy me, think outside the box. And when we get to, it might even be next week when we're doing the squeeze pages, we're actually together, hopefully going to build a squeeze page, just like he had done with that new construction list, to include into a text message versus right now where I'm just showing you how to do it, attaching it to an actual property. So maybe I want to make custom code. I'm going to make a sign writer that says by me MLS number. I'm going to add an MLS number or an address. I'm going to put the hashtag, obviously maybe I want it to be 123 Main Street, whatever that street property address is. That way, as I'm collecting leads, everything is going to that specific property. And the good thing about that is maybe that property goes under contract in a couple weeks. Now I have a new listing. I'm just going to move that sign writer over here. You'll have all of the text codes you've generated. You're going to go in and edit it, change the MLS ID, change the hashtag. Now, maybe 2 months down the road, I get a listing where this Main Street was. It's going to be super easy to click on the Main Street hashtag that was from 2 months ago. Anybody who did that text code for that, they may be interested in the new listing I got in that same subdivision around the same price. So with one click, you're going to be able to click on that hashtag, see everybody who had texted that. You're going to send a text, send an email announcing your new listing, because they're interested in that area, that subdivision. So maybe they'll be interested in that new listing that you have. Does that all make sense, or is that still a little too crazy, too much? Is that a pretty cool tool though? Is that cool? I absolutely love these features. It's going to help you work smarter, not harder, by being able to collect information, and it's going to be accurate information. But I also love the fact that we can do a message. And just like he had said, new construction, maybe you work subdivisions that you want to be able to do that for. And I'll show kind of an example. If you're sending out postcards, maybe you want to do text home value to the smart number, or you can create a QR code to be able to get your instant property value. That's going to, if you text it, you have it set to go to your home value, the sell page. That way you can see, are they going to text? Some people may do QR codes. The awesome part is restaurants have completely told us how to use QR codes. Back when we were doing these, probably like 2017, our demographic, they may have said, there's something wrong with your printer. You have squiggly lines. It doesn't make any sense. Nobody's going to say that anymore, because we all know how to use QR codes. You don't need a special app anymore. We used to use, Google lenses or whatnot to be able to scan QR codes. Now it's just part of your camera. And restaurants have all showed us how to use those. So you can do multiple different things. This is for the text code. We also had a QR code. And then these, we just built squeeze pages and basically used the Remax URL shortener to shorten up those long links so that we could add them. I believe this was probably Everdoor Direct or just, postcards that we sent out. It's super nice to be able to track. Obviously you're going to get a correct phone number if somebody's texting that, or if they're clicking on the link. It basically, a squeeze page squeezes people with content information into your database. And let's see, I've got some chats going on. Let's see. You don't need your unique code. I don't feel anybody, unless you're going to be making a ton of text codes, you don't need your own. One, do not call it, because it will generate a lead for you. Do not, like what he said, was to maybe put it in your email signature. Don't do that, because it's actually the office. If somebody who is not attached to an agent with that cell phone number that calls, it'll go on a generic rotation to agents. For the office site, we don't have the smart number displaying. I found, on an office site, you get a lot of just general public calling, looking for somebody or something like that. I didn't like the agents being a receptionist, so I always have showed the office number on the website. So we're not publicly showing that smart number anywhere. So unless you're putting it in your email signature, which don't do, because if somebody is not attached to you and they call it, it will just round robin throughout the agents in the office. So when he was saying to put it in your email signature, that's if you had your own dedicated number, but that's $30 a month. And I don't know that anybody quite needs that. It's available, but they are smart. So as you're working your database and something you can call from the system or from your app, it's going through that smart number. So that's where it is tied to you, to those clients in your system. So and it's logging everything in. And to me, the best example is app files. When you're working on your files and sending information using the system, there's that tracking code on all those emails to keep all of that correspondence right there inside of that transaction. That's basically how the smart number works. So hopefully that helps a little bit. And let's see. When someone pulls in their QR code, it will depend on what you have them do. If you have that QR code going to a landing page, the landing page is a forced registration. They'd have to enter, their name, whatever you decide needs to be done for them to get access to whatever it is you're promoting. A squeeze page, you can have, it'll be depending on what your settings are on that squeeze page. You can have it forced registration immediately or anything like that. A QR code is basically taking them to whatever you've decided that QR code goes to. So it's not that it's immediate capture. You'll see how many scans a QR code does, and the days and what devices they're on. But if you're taking them to your website and you don't have an immediate capture, you're not automatically going to get information, anybody who scans that QR code. Hopefully that makes sense a little bit, but it is the QR codes. Basically, I have QR codes that allow you to download my contact information. I have QR codes that just go to my website. I can track how many people scan it, but unless a lead is generated, that's the only way you'll actually physically get those information. The text code is immediate. They're texting a certain code that you've entered. Then automatically it's going to generate a lead with the phone number. It may not have their name because they're just texting, but it is a great way for you to be able to follow up. And I think the number one complaint on online leads is not getting an accurate phone number. So when somebody's texting a certain code to get something, it's going to be a correct phone number. I don't think anyone wants to give kids or, use kids or anything like that. But so it's great. And then this is just some ideas. I love the buy me. There's, text Heather to this. So as we build those, because that'll be part of our activities, I am very curious to see how creative and out of the box we can all get for these sign writers. And of course you could add them. I personally like the sign writers for listings so that you can just move them and you just change what MLS or address they're attached to, but you can do it for postcards, snail mails, your flyers, anything like that. You can actually add all that too. So there's a lot of different things. Even maybe you're doing an event, like a client appreciation event. You could have an email that goes out where they can click the link to register, or maybe text register or the event name to this to be able to get to that page or whatnot. There's a lot of different things that we're able to do. And you don't have to think like a cookie cutter, just think outside of the box. And I'm looking forward to be able to do different things like that. So lots of good ideas there. Now, of course, we have our smart campaigns. Not sure if anyone had any questions on being able to add their database or anything like that. I want to come over here to, I believe it's marketing. Let's see. This is smart campaigns. And this is where you can see all of the different campaigns. You can add your own. You can pay KV Core's team to create them for you. These are going to be different campaigns for the client's journey. And I'm going to show you that when we go inside of the actual person to see what that journey means. So these are kind of, you can see what smart campaigns are. Smart campaigns are not just like a buyer drip or a seller drip. These are actually campaigns. It's going to give you tasks. It's going to give, send emails, text based on where they're at on their journey. But it is really nice. It's going to even give you tasks. It may say, so let me just click on active buyer, or let's see if there's a new default new lead buyer. So there's a difference between a new lead and another lead. So I'm just going to close this out real quick. So this is a new lead. So a new lead is a new lead was just generated. They haven't really done a whole lot of stuff. It's going to probe, text, email. It's going to be a lot of probing and asking questions, getting these people back to the website, getting these people to answer questions, engage with you. Once they do that, they'll move from new lead to active lead. Once they switch that status, or you can change the status for you, but the system will do it automatically. When they go from new lead to active lead, the campaign is going to completely shift. And active lead is where you're going to get more of those assignments, because by then they're actively on the website, they've answered, hopefully they've engaged with you, they're more apt to do that. So you're going to be getting more tasks on that side. So it may be like, okay, you're going to get an alert through the system. You may get an email. I'm going to show you where to change all that to say, you need to call today. Don't leave a message. And then the next day may be, if you didn't hear anything, call, leave a message. It may say to text, do this. So you'll see there's a lot of different things, whether it's going to be an email sent from the system, or it wants you to try to call or do something. So there's a lot of, see how it says call and leave voicemail, call, don't leave voicemail, text message for them to, do you want to chat? Do you have time to chat or anything like that? So there's a lot of different activities that it's actually trying to get you to do. The system does some of it, but you'll get alerts and all that fun stuff. So the smart campaigns are not just a generic drip. It's really going to be based on where they're at in the process, how much activity and all of that fun stuff that they're doing on the website and engaging. So new lead, and I'm going to come over to the dashboard and let's see, you'll be able to see everything that all of your people are doing. And I saw Brian was testing out something. So I'm going to go ahead and click on him. When you scroll over, so on the left side of your contact to get more information, you'll see if they validated the phone number, the email, is anything bouncing back? Did they add stuff? So it tries to validate. Here's hashtags if you wanted to add a different hashtag or anything like that. Insights, the system is going to try to rate each lead that comes into the system. It'll automatically do it based on their activities, if they're responding to you. So that way you can do a search by their star rating. At any time, you can change this and say, Brian's good to go. I'm going to mark him a 5. He's somebody I want to be able to stay in front of and easily search that. Once you manually change their star rating, the system will no longer try to change it or anything like that. They understand you obviously know best. You mark them as a 5. They're going to leave that lead alone as far as their star rating goes from then on. Here's where the contact validation, and then you have their journey in the middle. So for the most part, your sphere and prospect, those are going to be contacts you've imported, maybe marked as sphere, marked as prospect. A new lead is someone who comes into the system. They're going to be getting different texts, alerts. You're going to be getting different things that, maybe that you need to be different tasks, all that stuff, until they start answering and responding and going to the website and become engaging. They'll switch over to active lead. Once you start showing them property, you're really engaged, it switch over to client. And at any time you can change this in the system. The system will automatically move them from place to place as long as you're using your notes and actively using the system, to make phone calls, send emails, something like that. The more you do inside the system, the smarter the system is keeping everyone organized for you. So it's really good to just get used to it. Make sure you have the CRM app downloaded. So as you go over, it'll turn into active. Now you're actually showing the client properties. Now it's under client. Obviously, the smart campaigns, it's really going to be not giving you a lot of tasks, maybe a follow-up, or something like that. And then you're under contract and then closed. So that's going to make it like their client journey and where it's at in the system. And you can change those at any time. Here's where you can do, these are basically activities that you can do. Do it, log a new call, add a note, send an email, send a text. They have voicemail drop. That's where it just kind of leaves a voicemail and you're looking at your phone. Gosh, my phone was sitting right here. I didn't even hear the phone ring. It just drops a voicemail. Or you have core video. So by off the bat, we get 10 videos per month to 10 individuals. You can do that. Or if you want to connect your BombBomb, or if you want BombBomb, they have a super sweet deal. I think it's $30 a month. Then you have unlimited videos. For the most part, 10 videos a month. Not everybody's into video. You can do 10 of those. And of course, Core Present, we'll get into that probably after R4. That's the whole CMA. It's a really cool tool. I was blown away by it. So we'll be getting into that more. But if they are a seller, you might be using that to be able to log that in, send a CMA, all of that. Then you have more actions. This may be, you already know this person, unsubscribe, or they texted you or anything like that. This is where you can share a contact. So maybe you're working a lead with someone else in the office. You can share it with them or just assign it to them. So sharing means you both see activities that everyone's doing. You can make a contact private, unsubscribe them, maybe merge. Maybe you have a husband and wife and they both have been on there, because my husband and I do not like to integrate anything really. We're just kind of two unique people. So we may have both been on the website creating the lead. You can merge them, husband and wife. Here you have turn off behavioral alerts. Behavioral alerts are similar to the smart campaigns, but that's where a lot of the probing comes into play. You can archive lead if they're like, don't contact me. I just signed up. I just wanted the price of this and leave me alone. Archive them. Who cares? You can delete the contact. You can rerun the lead. You can export, delete, move to pond. A pond is basically if maybe you get a lead, it's not in an area you want to serve. You just don't have time. You don't want to archive them because they're actually, real. Maybe you just want to move them to the pond. As we start getting more leads, we'll get into the pond is basically a free-for-all. You don't have time for them. You don't, want to assign to someone else or anything like that. Move them to the pond. The pond is a free-for-all. Agents can go into the pond and just basically add any lead they see in there that they want to work. It's a little crazy, but that's what the pond is. And then, of course, if you have subscription to like Spokio, and I watch a lot of Catfish. I don't know why I'm like obsessed with that show. So I love like the Spokio and all that. You can find them. If that email phone number is attached to social media or Spokio and the people, you can actually get all the dirty on them. Has anybody ever looked themselves up on Spokio? It's a little crazy. But you can do that. So I believe it does require a subscription, unless you're doing heavy leads or you're just curious like me. You probably don't need to do all that, but it's there, so you can do that. So as you scroll down to the very bottom, that is the very beginning of their journey. Where did the lead come from? What page or what did they do to be able to create a lead? And then you can actually see, any calls, any tasks, anything like that, sending a text message, any emails, all of the things that you do inside of this system or log into the system will be a part of that journey in that middle. So to me, it's the more you log everything in or do things from your app or on the desktop, the better it's going to be to have everything in one space. Here's some more. So maybe you have a new lead, they've decided, and Brian, I'm not sure if you watch this, I didn't see him on here, but definitely, so Brian created a new lead for himself. I always recommend using a different phone number, maybe someone has Google Voice, using a different email, go to your website, create that lead. You can do it on a search on any of the pages. You can create property alerts. Maybe, okay, I talked to them, they're engaging, they want this, or maybe they set up a very broad search because we see a lot of them do that. Don't put in areas or prices or bedrooms or baths. This is where you can add a property search. They can set it up themselves. You can edit that. You can add a new one if you want to. So you're basically, when you're setting up a property alert, you're able to basically do a full search of the MLS, just like you would do in your MLS setting someone up for a prospect. You can do a full search, and add keywords if there's, pool, community, whatnot. You'll be able to add all that, set them up. And then the frequency, how serious are they? Do they need it ASAP because they're really looking and there's not much out there? Maybe they're just kind of curious. Maybe that would be weekly, or you can have daily or monthly, whatever it may be. And then you can always add in a secondary email. Maybe you want it so that you get it, anything like that. So you can set up all of that. You can add files, the transactions, and tasks. So there's a lot of stuff that you can do within each client. There's a lot of stuff. Here's active campaigns. So this is what they're already set up for as far as the smart campaigns. If there isn't one, maybe you brought over people from Bouge or another system, but they are actively looking for properties. This is where you can even add a smart campaign. So this is where you can add the property alerts. If they're not on a buyer drip or anything like that, you can just add campaigns. They can be on 2. I wouldn't recommend adding more than one smart campaign to an individual because you don't want to bombard them with a bunch of emails. So maybe you put them on the active, maybe you put them on the new, anything like that. And of course, market reports and the core present and listing valuation and seller report, those are amazing for sellers. So they're really great reports. The market's going to pull in all the data for the property, address or location or city. It'll have all the active, pending, solds for that specific, area that you put in. Core present, again, is the CMA. Listing valuation, if you were to add that, that's that on the sell page of your website. And then a seller report. So if they are an active seller, you can add a report in there so that way they get all the information of the activity going on their property. So lots of good stuff. Yes, Dawn, you can transfer someone to another agent. So that was in there where I can share or transfer. And it's anyone within the office. Let's see what happens with that if it's the office or so I can schedule, I can transfer, or I can share a lead with anybody in the office. So that's always great. Or you can just send it to Pond or archive it or delete it or anything like that. So let's see if they need. I think the voice drop is extra. And until we actually have leads in the Pond, I don't see where the Pond is either. And Pond, when I left KV Core, was still just like a top team. Use the word Pond. We just assigned it to a fake person that we had set up in the system. And then they came out with the Pond. But I don't, until somebody starts adding anybody to the Pond, there's nothing to see. So that I can't find it either. So I have to Google where to find the Pond. But right now, until we get leads and people add it to the Pond, it's super confusing, not going to lie. So as we get more into the advance and find the needs to add, any context to the Pond, then we'll get into that training, but it is interesting. All right, let's see. Better to call from your phone or text through the system. It's hard because when you do it through the system, it does come through that smart number that may confuse people. I just let them know that's basically your work phone. Because then if they call, they're in the system, that call is being routed to you immediately anyway, as well as the text message. Any calls or texts that are done with that smart number through any of your contacts actually logs inside of their journey. So it's nice when you do it through the system or the app, it's nice to be able to see all of that correspondence right in here. Or if you do it through your phone, you just want to, the best way to do it is to go into that person to log that phone call or text or anything like that. So the system knows that it's in there and then you have that tracked as well. So it just, it really depends. I say try it both ways and see how it works. And definitely if you have, different phones that you could do that or a spouse or something like that, where you can play with it to see how all of that works. But do make sure regardless, because the automation texts are going to be using that smart number connected to you. If somebody responds to that, you don't want it to be unknown. Make sure to add that smart number into your phone as a contact with a bunch of $signs, because that means whoever's calling or texting is actually a lead in your system and that equals money. So just do that for sure. All right, let's see here. What else is there? That's a lot. We did a lot. That's a lot today because that's all the smart campaigns, text codes. Whew, we went through the client's journey. I'm trying to think of, let me go over my cheat sheets here. So you can edit those. Smart. I have like my cheat sheet. I do want to bring this over. Let me bring this over. Oh, wrong one. Let's bring over your Agent Hub. Your Agent Hub we've been adding a lot of information on here. So when you go to the hub, you click on MAXTech. We're adding, obviously, this was the homework from last week. We're adding in the Zoom replays right here. So we'll add today's right next to it. So those will be front and center. I've been finding a lot of the different videos, the Zoom recordings. So I'm adding those into this field right here, as well as anything that I'm doing. Here's a lot of quick tips as you start working the system. These will actually really come in handy, really quick, shorter videos. These are more the mastermind, going to be more advanced, but I am trying to add as much information and details on your resource page as I possibly can. And of course that, is the importing information, but I get a lot of this when I click on these past recordings. You're going to find a ton. Obviously, these are all the same class. So this is how it works webinar. That's the one, excuse me, that's right here. Some of these recordings allow me to download it. So I've uploaded it to add to your hub. So these are all the same classes. You don't have 10 classes of this. It's one class, but they do it weekly and then they put that recording. So really the only difference may be who's teaching the class and who's in the class and what questions they may ask, but it's the same slide deck. So don't feel, oh my gosh, I have like 15 videos, webinars I have to watch. Who has time for that? Just no, just pick one of those, watch it. We've got that recorded. Here's building your pipeline. So again, there's a lot of, great articles over here. This 10 by 10 method reminds me of, I don't know if you guys remember when we were doing the Tom Ferry sales power. I think Carrie was dressing up as a chicken and stuff back then. That was a lot of fun. But Tom Ferry had his 100 memory jogger. So it was like 100 different memory jogger. They have the 10 by 10 method to get 100 contacts in your database from, thinking outside the box of people But there is a lot of great resources. Almost every one of them will have those little like 3-minute videos that we've, if I find something that's nice and short, that'll cover it better than me, I want to play it. But there's a lot of great stuff. Here's like generating new leads. This is the landing pages, the squeeze pages. So I believe that's next week when we're going to get into that. Of course, the text codes and smart, we just kind of touched on that today. Some of these are for brokers, but here's like powering your automations. So there's going to be a lot of lead gen, but of course, we're just doing our building blocks right now. Free leads. So this one is, I think, a breakout section, maybe. Okay, so there's a lot of great videos. That's all on the past recordings. If you want to watch it live, here's where you go to register for an upcoming one of those trainings. Those are all right here. If you want to do it live so that you can be in there chatting with people that are in the class, this is the link that you would use. Also think about this, the Ask Me Anything. So that is where trainers are on Zoom, on standby. You pop in, ask your question, and you pop out. It's not a full webinar. You don't have to be on there for an hour, but it is nice. I think it's like at 12 o'clock daily, or they have different times. But so I guess it's once a week. So once a week they're on there. I can register for it. I get the link. Then I just pop in, ask my question, and pop back out. It's not like a full class. I just go in there to get what I need, and then I'm done. So there's a lot of great classes there. Those are all dedicated to MAXTech. So it's going to be very specific to what we have as Remax agents inside of KV Core. And then, of course, they have that KV Core to register. They have classes. It feels like almost 4 to 5 classes every single day. So you see all these different classes that they have. Here's like KV Core. Oh, that's Monday or Tuesday. I may have to do that because that's where I'm like, oh, I know I was blown away, but until we had access, I didn't want to overwhelm myself. But lots of great classes. This is to watch live webinars, all on the KV Core system itself, not specific to Remax. So lots of great stuff. I'm also adding that when you go into your dashboard, here's the link to get over to our hub. And then if you come over to the company cloud, we also have for your hub, we have past recordings, register for MAXTech training. So that's all the links that we just went over. That is right inside of your dashboard when you could log into MAXTech. And let's see here. So any other questions? You guys are awfully quiet today. Very quiet. What else do you want me to go over? Who's tried anything? We're overwhelmed. I know. Me too. Me too. But I geek out on this. So that's all good. And really the number one thing is just like what the homework was last week was getting through your checklist, watching this video, and it's a really good as far as an overview of what we're going to get. And then of course, we'll be doing lots of training. I'll be learning a lot when I go to R4, and I'll be doing constant training on KV Core. We can do stuff together because once we get to those text codes, squeeze pages, landing pages, I absolutely love and geek out on all of that. So at least you guys have me and we do it together. And that just makes it so much easier. Because I enjoy it. So we just make it fun.
Heather?
Yeah.
Question. Okay,
Yes.
so the number, the personal number, what was it called? The smart number.
Our number. Mhm.
Okay, so I see the number up in the corner. Is that the company number or is that my personal number?
You do not have a personal number.
Right.
It is, we have the office number, but so don't call it because it won't go to you. It'll, and then it generates a lead, you as a lead for that agent. So you don't want to call it. This is just basically, it's a smart number. It's going to be associated to you as, all those campaigns or the texts are sent, they're sent out through that number. So everything gets logged. It's going to be attached to the client and attached to you and will show up inside of that journey. But if an outside person were to call that and that phone number is not attached to a contact, that's when it goes on rotation. So that's why
attached to a contact.
Right. Right. You want that. And that's why we don't have it on the public facing office websites or the agent sites or anything like that. We have the regular office number because we don't want the general public just to call that number. And then it gets very confusing, especially if they're looking for someone specific. So you shouldn't advertise that number unless you're attaching it to like a text code to be specific.
So my question is, how does it get attached to you?
It is attached to you. When somebody has their cell phone number inside of your database or anybody that you've brought in, that's how it attaches. So somebody calls that number, it knows what number is calling. If that number, first thing they're doing before they decide where it's going to go, is that number in our system anywhere attached to an agent? And if it is, obviously you're getting that call.
So that's why it's so important to have your database in the system with the numbers. So when they call in that number, it'll find the number in your system.
Right. And typically, because it's not a number that's advertised, the only way someone would have that is if they're using the text codes, which obviously that's in your database and attached to you. You can't have only one person could have by me text code. So you have to think of unique things. So it may be text Heather to this or something like that. So couldn't have two people create the same text code to generate leads, because obviously the first person that does it, that's attached to you. That's like buying a domain. So when you're creating that text code, you can't have the same text codes to that phone number. Only the first person would get it. So it would say that's already been in use, create something else. And that's where it is attached to you. So you're not going to advertise that number anywhere, but it is how the system is going to be corresponding when it comes to those texts that may get sent to them. But obviously they're doing that through the system. So whoever they're texting, it's on behalf of you. So that's going to get logged into the system. And if they reply, it's going to be routed to you.
So Heather, the number that you have up there for Jennifer is not the same number that I have as my smart number. And
Right. Every office has their own smart number. So there's 3 smart numbers depending on which, the Palm City has one, Stuart office has one, and then Flannery Group has, because they're a satellite office, they have their own. So there's every office branch location has a separate phone number,
okay.
which makes it nice because then, obviously having multiple smart numbers makes it so that if you do want to create a buy me or sell with me or anything like that, the lead gen, obviously it's going to a different smart number, so you can create those. And the smart numbers are pretty confusing. But when I realized when we're in our app files and we're sending contracts, have you ever seen the address, the email address that gets sent to the client? It's like, you can customize it, but it has the app files and kind of like a tracking code to you. So that way, when they email it back, everything is locked into that one transaction. Think of the smart numbers the same. We're not advertising it anywhere other than we can do the text codes. It's just within what the system is using as you're corresponding with people to log everything in. And then it's attached to you. And that's a good question, Judy, but it would depend on the system is going to be sending that email, that phone up like a text or something to a new lead. Not necessarily, they wouldn't just call that number if multiple people have the same contact in their database. Nobody's going to see that smart number unless they're a new lead. The contacts that you pushed into that you may have been brought over from Booge, or ones that you've manually imported are not on any sort of smart campaign unless you literally go into that person and add them as a campaign, because they wouldn't know what contact or what campaign to put them on. So they're not going to be in any campaign. So they're not going to be receiving messages from the smart number, if that makes sense. So the only time like a client that may be in there, if you add them to a campaign, then they may start getting that message. That's when, if they respond, it would go to you. But other than that, the smart number is not advertised to the general public. So really it's only being used to work your database and the smart campaigns and the text codes and stuff like that. So don't call it, because then everybody's going to be like, why am I getting this? What? Because it would be round robin throughout whoever's next on, and then you're created as a lead. We don't want that. See, anything else? No other questions? You guys are awfully quiet. Thank you, Mel.
Okay,
Ask away.
I'm gonna just chime in here. Text code.
Yes.
So with my follow-up boss, I know that I could text right from that program.
Mhm.
And I could either text with my phone, which goes to my personal phone texting, but it doesn't show up in my profile like what KV Core has. So I understand that. So you could text from your KV Core text, and then it gets logged in so you can see exactly what you did and so forth. Now, as far as the text code, what is, just go over that real briefly again, because I'm probably not the only one that's got their mouth open like, huh?
So I can create a sign writer, custom sign writer. I'm going to say, text by me to this number for pictures and information.
Yeah.
I have that sign custom made. I'm in here. I'm going over to my lead engine, call and text capture. I'm going to add a new text code, and it's going to be that by me. No one else could create it if I have it. And it's going to attach it to an MLS ID. And I don't know so add in the MLS number, add in the address. I'm going to add in a hashtag. I want everybody who texts this right now I want it to go I want them all to be labeled 123 Main Street for this property that I'm putting it on. Now, every time someone does that text code, by me, they're immediately going to get all the information for that property, my information, description, all of that fun stuff. I absolutely love this to be able to do that. So now you have all those leads for 123 Main Street. Now that one just went under contract, but you have a new listing, down the road. You're going to have all of it, just like he had showed in that video, instead of just because I'm in Jennifer's, I can see everyone's, but I want to be able to go over here, change that. I'm going to edit the text code by me, and I'm going to put in the new listing address or MLS ID, change that hashtag. So now when someone texts by me, now they're going to be labeled with the new address. Or I can, just like he had, new construction or open houses. So maybe I want open houses. So as you're doing snail mail, or maybe in your signature, as long as you're creating that text code, you can use that smart number to text this to this for the smart number. So maybe I want open houses, thanks for your interest and this week's open houses. Here's the link for Palm City open houses. That link is something that we've done by creating a squeeze page with a search, Palm City open houses. So it's a live feed. That link doesn't change. It's a live feed to the MLS. So as new open houses are added for whatever city you put, like Palm City, it's a live feed. So it's not a text message that's going to be outdated. But just like he said, if you're going to set up the text code for a message, definitely end it with a question, because we want them to respond to us. Once they've texted that person, that cell phone is now attached to me. It's going in my lead database. It's going to be attached with whatever hashtag I have. I can communicate with them now. They can text, they can call, they can do whatever they want using that number. It's going to me.
So those custom codes are you specific once you create them.
Absolutely. So if you created one and Jen's like, oh, I really like that, I saw that, and she goes to create it, well, the only way she's going to be able to create the same one is if she's in a different office and has that different smart number. So because they're all unique to you. I couldn't come after you create open houses. I can't say, oh, I like that idea, Milton. I'm going to take it and run with it and do the same thing. They can't. They'll have to have open house 1, open house 2, because open house is connected to you. So anybody who texts that, it's going into your database. So only one custom code could be entered per smart number. So that's where I think the only time somebody would really need to pay the $30 a month to have their own is if you have a lot of these, or you want to be able to have that smart number listed for all of your teams or something like that. Other than that, I don't think we need to have our own, because they're pretty smart. They're very intuitive. It's like a voice over IP phone, but it's internet and it's a smartphone number. So they're pretty good. But it's very confusing. It's like, I don't understand. How do we have one office and they know to get to me? It's, it's a little different, but it's how the system is able to use a number to keep everything logged in to that client, that specific client. And there's lots of videos on the smart numbers too, that I'm sure they explain it way better than me.
So to develop your custom code, you go into Lead Engine. You go into
call and text capture.
Got it.
And then add new. And then you can just think of codes, whether it be MLS or message. And the cool thing about that, and this little more advanced, but just like what that little video said, so I can put in a hashtag for, maybe I do open houses, new construction. Maybe now I have my little message, they have a hashtag. I can actually now go and build my own smart campaign for that trick, basically for that hashtag. maybe for open houses. Maybe I'm going to go ahead and create a smart campaign. Maybe I have like 3 different emails that goes out. Maybe I have a text go out in addition to what they did, but I could also set up property alerts. So I could have it where it's automatic, every week it's sending them a list of open houses. So there's a lot of different things that we can do with even just the text codes, because I can set up my own kind of drip campaign, smart campaign that's going to basically trigger is that hashtag. Any lead created with that hashtag triggers this smart campaign to start. I know that's a little more advanced, not quite there yet. Still got to work on the system and getting our checklist done. But as I said, I get very excited about all of this. But lots of awesome stuff. We couldn't do that with any other program. And this is like a complete lead generator. It's going to be amazing. Once we get done, like probably right after R4, we're going to turn back our pay-per-click campaign. Since Booge, it was just kind of, I'll just throw money and see if anything sticks. But here I'm actually going to be able to track everything that's going on and be able to make adjustments depending on, where the leads are coming from, how they're coming from, to be able to get more leads for you guys. But I figured until we get through all of our trainings and get you guys accustomed to, as the leads start coming in from Remax in the office, to get accustomed to the dashboard and how to work that. I don't want to overwhelm anyone. So probably as soon as we get back from R4, we'll turn on the campaign again to start getting you guys some listings. And we'll continue to do training, probably more advanced, but I think next week is squeeze pages, which is a little more advanced, but it's awesome. So lots of fun being able to generate different leads or searches and all these other fun things. Your property, listing property websites, all that kind of fun stuff, seller reports, all that. Is that it? No other questions?
One more question.
Yeah.
So I want to send out a text to my buddy Hans, who's my a lead, and I want to send him a text from my AV core.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now I go into send a message, or I'm not sure exactly where to do that yet, but when I do that, I see here my custom code is Milton. That was assigned to me apparently.
Yeah, but that's if you're going to is he already a lead in your system?
Let's say Hans is okay. Let's say he is a lead in my system.
Then you're either from your app going to go to him, and then it'll say, what do you want to do? Do you want to text him? You can text him straight from the app, or on the desktop right here, send a text. And this is where it'll, what do you want to do? It gives a lot of samples for ideas on what you want to text. Maybe.
So what number does Hans see that
The smart number.
the smart number?
So that's where I tell people that's my office number. That's my, computer number, whatnot. That's the system I'm working.
But so they'll text that, but everybody else in Remax or Stuart is going to have that number. But since Hans is in my system, it's
It'll
going to
show you. Mm-hmm. I guess that's the smart part.
It's so smart.
I know. Way smarter than me, because it is very confusing. But I just say it's smarter than me, just like Google. Way smarter than me. I can only try to explain that. But you see that if you do it from the system, and I go to send a text message, you see all these cool little, look at all these different templates it has that you can edit. So you have let's see. Buyer, I got time. There you go. And it's asking a question. This is very, very much like the behavioral alerts that come out, because this was, I think, one of them that came out on somebody had looked at a property. So this automatically kind of gets sent to them when they're still new before they start engaging. And it was like, I have today or tomorrow if you'd like to go see, any properties. And it was right when we were, closed down, because I think it was Hurricane Matthew was coming. And of course they responded like, aren't you guys going through a hurricane right now? Like, are you actually able to show this property? Like I see everyone putting boards up. And that's when we were able to say it came from the different number, and we were able to, oh my gosh, everything happened so fast. I forgot to tell my assistant not to send all those. So, but because it asked that question at a weird time, they immediately got a response. They were actually, after the hurricane, able to close on, go view properties, and they become a client. So even if the message is a little weird, it almost the weirdness almost actually gets them to respond. Now they move into an active client, and now they're not getting the weird probing. But that's the whole point, is when they're new, the responses and what the system is going to do is going to ask a lot of questions, trying to get them to engage with you. And it's super nice to have a system that actually does that, because it allows you to focus on income producing activities. Let the system try to do its work, and then you get the follow-up when they start engaging, if that makes sense.
Yep.
Because we didn't get that in Bouge. It was, there you go. You have a lead. I have to try to remember who came in. And this system really does a lot. Let's see. Let's see. And if you create a lead with your phone number, your email, you should be able to do it as long as you don't use the Remax email, but the phone part won't really work because you can't really text yourself, if that kind of makes sense. So you could use like a Google Voice and use the computer to go back and forth. That may be a better testing. And I believe as long as you're not using your Remax email, although, if the Remax email is going to this, specific Gmail, maybe have another Gmail. Or if you have a domain, I just go to GoDaddy and create, Heather at a domain, and it's a free forward, which is, you get those for free. That way you can test it better when you're creating yourself as a generic lead to see, because definitely I feel when you're creating a generic lead and you have a different phone number and email, to be able to see both sides. You want to be able to see what the consumer is seeing and what you're sending to them, and just how the system works. I like to see it from both sides. But just think, maybe a Google Voice, or if you have a different Gmail, or use your domain, just so that way you'll be able to see the difference. Because even your Remax email forwards to your main email. It's not really an actual email address, just a forwarding. So maybe, if you have another Gmail or, something like that, or you can go and get one from, GoDaddy and have it forwarded. But that's what I would recommend if you're testing. Anything else? We good? So yes, I'm excited. Woo woo. So make sure definitely every morning you have your coffee. I want you to be looking at your dashboard, what's going on. Maybe watch a couple of those videos. Definitely, we've got all the links here. I personally, because I get up early, I don't have time to watch these things in the middle of the day. I like just going and clicking on the replay. I watch it while I'm working. Really great insight. It's going to help you. The more you know the system, the better it's going to help as we start with the lead gen and all these other techniques, and turn on that pay-per-click campaign for you guys. And of course, if you want to do anything special, you guys know how to find me, Zoom with me, all that fun stuff, one-on-one, whatever you need to do. And I'm super excited. And unless there's any other question, I think next week is exciting. And that's it. I'm going to stop sharing if nobody else has questions.
Bye.
Bye.